Hi, I'm Christine Rayner. I'm the director of Imagine Achievement, which is new here in Marion County. It's a homeschool hybrid micro school. So basically, we got started as a homeschool program in Southern California, and I ran that for 4 years. And I found out that there were not enough supports here in Florida. A friend of mine had offered me to use her 20-acre farmland off of the 301 in Summerfield. It's the 301 and the 42. And then I connected also with a nonprofit organization in Ocala who's willing to let us use their classroom-based offices in Ocala to open a second part of the program. So now we have two programs opening in the area because the need is so great in the area, not only just for additional alternative types of education, but for special needs, autism, ADHD, gifted kids, kids that are struggling in the school system that we have here. I'm a therapist and I blend many different types of therapies together to provide this type of alternative educational program. It's not just for special kids, special needs kids. It's for all kids, right? It's for everybody, but it's a way that you can have everybody together and still meet all of the needs. So the learning is flexible. There's lots of different options. You can go full-time or part-time. You can have after-school program. You can do the tutoring. You can do the counseling and the neurotherapy. There are lots of different things built into the program, and I hope to build even more in the future so that there might be some options for speech therapy, occupational therapy, different types of therapies you can get all under one roof. So it's more of a wraparound program. That way kids and families can get all of their needs met. If you have a child that has anxiety and you want to stay for a few days to help them transition, that's totally fine. If you want to stay more often and be able to stay with your kids and learn alongside them, that's great too. We welcome that. We just ask that everybody will complete a background check and fingerprinting to be able to do that, and that it doesn't become distracting to the kids in the program. There is also the potential to develop a co-working space where families, if they have to drive really far or they want to be on site with their kids and check in with them and sometimes interact, but sometimes get some work done or, make doctor's appointments and do some homeschool planning. We're hoping to have some indoor spaces with fast internet, air conditioning, and kitchen access, bathrooms, all the things, so that some families can stay on site. Whether they decide to be with their kids out in the field or whether they decide to do some co-working area so that you can get some work done. The typical hours that are suggested are between 10 o'clock and 3 p.m. So it's not the standard hours, but people that have more standard hour jobs and require to have a program that you can drop your kids off early so you can get to work earlier, we can provide an early drop-off option. And we also have the after-school program, which also includes extended care for families who need their kids to stay longer than 3 p.m. There are some opportunities for older kids to be able to stay in the evenings and on a Saturday in Ocala if they'd like to do more evening time classes, and that works better for their biology or their needs. We can extend some of the classes to later in the evenings and on Saturday for those people. And again, you can choose half day, 3 days, full time. There's lots of different options. So basically just come to us and let us know what it is that will work the best for your family, and we can talk through the options and figure out what the best plan is for you. We also offer tutoring and coaching. There's some behavior modification built into the program, but if you need special access to more behavioral supports, or you need special access to IEP development or transcript help or anything, if you are a homeschool parent and you're doing a lot of the academic pieces at home, if you need additional supports with that, I can help you with that. For some of the older kids, there's also an opportunity to do internships. So they're doing their own classes part of the time and they're doing on-the-job training for some of the other days or hours of the week. And they have coaching and mentorship with the teachers or possibly even some of the older students. The typical learning style is like mixed subjects. So we don't have like science this hour and social studies this hour. We blend a lot of things together so you maximize the potential and learning power and interest of the kids in a smaller period of time. So you can get a lot more learning done in a smaller period of time. It's much more interesting. And you have the kids with their hands in projects, and it's play-based, project-based, hands-on learning. out in Summerfield, about 75% of the day is outdoors, but we go indoor, outdoor, so that we have some respite from the heat. Or if it's raining, obviously we can go inside for longer periods of time. There's outdoor structures, hand washing stations, camping toilets out there, so that, if you have an emergency and you have to go right then, you don't have to go trekking all the way back to the mobile homes and the classroom spaces that we have. So there's some flexibility there and convenience for the kids that are out, doing nature studies in the forest. We have 8 acres that is untapped at this point. We'd love to clear some trees and be able to put in a big giant barn. So at some point we can have dances and events and really cool things. And when there's hurricane season and crazy weather, that we can go in there all day and be able to comfortably, as a large group, be able to learn in that environment as well. So we're building a lot of different options within the programming, including some memberships for parents and teachers to be able to utilize a holistic healing cabin where, you punch in a code and you can go drop off your kid for classes and go into the cabin and do red light therapy and detox things and, a bunch of different holistic healing opportunities so that parents can focus on their self-care and get some of their needs met as well. And then still be able to come back out and work on lesson planning or, developing your next field trip and being able to go check in with your kids and maybe sit with them for lunch. So lots of opportunities. Basically, I've developed whatever I wish there was in the world, that there needs to be in the world, that nobody else has developed yet in quite the same way. It's very unique. And when people see it in action, they're like, oh, now I get it. So sometimes you have to come out and do a tour to see exactly what we have going on here. And there's so many benefits and opportunities and so much flexibility that it's kind of hard to describe for people. So I'm trying to get as many of the easy questions answered as possible. And if you have more questions, please feel free to reach out. My best way for contact is to text message me, since I do work as a full-time therapist at this point, and I'm transitioning to work in this program with the therapy aspect as well as neurotherapy. If you don't know what that is, which is very likely, please reach out. I'd love to tell you all about it. It's a way that people can help heal their brain and become better learners, better students, increase their behavior, decrease their negative symptoms if they're struggling with any negative symptoms. So, a lot of the time, if you have, let's say, a kid that has ADHD, a lot of the time, the only possible, recourse for that is to maybe learn some behavior modification techniques and go to the psychiatrist. You're always referred to go get medication, right? So for those families that don't want the medication, or the medication doesn't work very well, or you want to know the root cause, you want to see if there's anything else that can be done that's more holistic that might heal the child, and maybe you can reduce the medication, maybe you don't need the medication at some point, and you can increase, the learning potential and the better self-control for those kids. You can use neurotherapy for things like that. And I suggest you look it up or come ask me, and I would love to share all that information with you. If you'd like to come do a tour and hear more about the neurotherapy or the counseling or all these other layers of the program, including we have organic gardening and cooking, and we have 330 feet on the frontage road that we can use to do little businesses where we have booths and the kids can sell the things that they make. We can sell the produce that we're growing, and it's right off the 301. Come on over and see what we have going on and do a tour with me. And if you're sold, if you want to just come and join us and sign up and use your Step Up for Students scholarships. Oh, I wanted to mention, if you need help figuring out how to use the scholarship, how to get the scholarship, what the scholarship is, how to get the proper documentation to prove your child has anxiety or ADHD or autism or whatever else, or if you have the PEP scholarship as well. So, just come let me know if you need any help with coordinating that, or if you have questions about those things, I can help guide you to get that set up. That way our program is hopefully fully funded for you. There are options to add on programming if you want to. or to minimize programming if you want to. The kids learn to mastery, so there's not a whole lot of need for a lot of testing. But if you do like testing, you do want some testing at any point, we can provide that. And I may include some testing just for my own research purposes to make sure that I have a handle on how everything is going when I back off and I'm not one of the main teachers. I am going to start as one of the main teachers to get the program up and running properly and make sure all my teachers are really well trained. I'm going to continue coaching throughout the whole program and directing the program. Even when I back off, I'm going to be in both programs 3 days a week. And I'm going to be able to provide some of the educational therapy, tutoring, as well as behavior modification, counseling. We do take health insurance for the counseling and therapeutic pieces. And I am offering coaching and the neurotherapy as well as all of the support for the program and direction of the programs, help with curriculum building and things like that. So I am directing the programs, but I am starting as one of the main teachers as well. This program is very transparent. What happens is at the end of each day, the teachers will take the videos and the pictures that they've taken each day and load them into a Facebook group that all of the parents will have access to. And we'll put the pictures and the videos of your kids and what they're doing all day on the Facebook group so that you can have access and see what was happening all day long. Then the teachers will write a post about all the different things that they learned that day and the different topics that were covered. So therefore, if you're doing anything at home to support or alongside what we're doing, or if you have your own academic pieces that you're doing, it's not too redundant, or it will help benefit you so that you're like, okay, well, if they taught this, then I don't have to, or they taught that, let me piggyback off of that and teach some more of that so I can make sure that they're learning in different environments, or I can make sure of what they did learn, or I can maybe add to what they did learn, right? So some kids need more repetition and more experience with topics or different types of subjects, and other kids, they learned it the first time, and you can kind of check in with them and have a conversation, see their projects that they made. That's the evidence of what they've learned is, when we talk about their projects and we see what they made and we ask them questions, we have discussions, those are the pieces that you need to verify that kids are, paying attention. They're online, they understand. It's a very small group. We're talking like 8 kids to a group with a lead teacher and an assistant teacher. So we get a lot of relationship built. We get a lot of experience and understanding of where the kids are coming from and how they learn and where they're at with things. So we don't move on unless a kid shows that they have mastery in that thing and they understand it. And then we do apply the topics and the subjects in different ways. So if they didn't learn it in one way fully, they just kind of got the introduction of it, they're going to learn it again in a different way that they're like, oh, okay, you can bridge these two concepts or two experiences together to get a fuller picture of what's going on. And, you can tell as the teachers, you can tell by the discussion that you're having and the questions the kids are having when they're making their projects. And while you're lecturing, you're kind of lecturing and giving them the background story and information while they're doing their projects. That way, they're fully immersed and paying attention and interested at the same time as not being bored and not being distracted because they have, things that they're building and doing that's involved with the thing you're talking about at the same time. As I said, there's limited testing. There's no homework expected. This way, you get as many of your kids' needs met in this program as possible. And then when they go home to you, they're off. They get to go home. They're tired. They're happy. They are, excited about learning. They're excited about sharing the things they did that day and their experiences. And they don't have to do anything else at home. There's a lot that we do. We tie in as many topics as we can into one learning experience. And we have like 45 minutes with a group of kids with the lead teacher and an assistant teacher. And we do one topic that has many, many topics in it. So it's very interdisciplinary so that kids will understand a larger amount of things in a smaller period of time. You get a lot more value for the time that you put in. And a lot of the time it might look like play, because that's how kids are motivated to learn. And when you're playing to learn and you're having fun and it's novel and it's interesting and it's new and you're having experiences and you're with your friends and your people around you are nice to you, and you can always say, like, I don't feel good, or I don't want to do this activity, or can I do it a different way? And all of that's respected, and creativity is supported and respected in the program. And life skills are important. Learning how to do real life things with your hands and your brain are super important and valuable, and the kids will feel empowered and capable and want to do more. So I have this experience of doing this program in California for the last 4 years, and it went really, really well. I started it because of COVID, and because a lot of people needed an alternative education plan at that time, didn't want to go back into the public schools with the masking and the mandates and the distancing and all this type of stuff. It wasn't the best situation for most kids, and it wasn't a good situation for kids of any kind with any kind of special needs. And so I developed this whole drop-off program outdoor to begin with, because that's how we could get funded. And it was built off of my specialty tutoring company, where I was doing educational therapy as a side project to help other homeschool families. When I started homeschooling my daughter in kindergarten, we weren't able to get her needs met in the public schools. And so I ended up pulling her out, and I ended up realizing, like, this is the better way to do things by far. Just was kind of worried about where are we going to get the funding to do this. I ended up a single mom homeschooling her. I was still an intern. So, I've been in the hard places and figured out, like, what the community really needs and how to support those families that feel like they can't do it, and you really can. If you can do it as a single mom with a kid with special needs, and you're not making much money, and you have to work part-time, and like, it feels like the world is against you sometimes, but like, I wouldn't trade that time in my life for anything ever, because the value of that time and that experience was so great. And my daughter did so much better because I had my hands on her education and her life and her happiness. And she was able to be shielded from a lot of the things that are negative from public school, and also, retain her self-esteem and retain her love of learning, where so many other kids don't have that. Even in the second grade, there's so many kids that are just already feel like they're done with school. They only go for their friends, and half the time many of those kids are not even nice to them. So it's really a challenge to go to regular public school. And even in this area, I have a lot of therapy clients who, they don't have any specific special needs, but they are not happy in the schools that they're in. And many of the kids have been moved 5 or 6 different schools already, and they're in middle school. So they're not getting a good, consistent education that's serving their needs. Even if they don't have any special issues at all, there's really a problem in this area where families are having to move from school to school to school because things aren't working out for one reason or another, including the private schools. So anyway, I would love to encourage you to come check it out. And if there's some reason why you can't get a scholarship, or you are struggling with figuring out the drive or things like that, please let me know that you're struggling with something, that we can put our heads together and figure something out. So the nonprofit that I'm going to be working with, they suggested we maybe ask for getting some school buses as well. I would love to do lots of field trips. I want to keep it novel and interesting and fun, and go find the experiences in life. You can't find everything in one location, right? We do have 20 acres to use in Summerfield, so like, we have a lot we can develop here on the property itself. But I also want to be able to go out and do amazing things and invite the families. And I'm just looking forward to developing this program and this community and these supports for the area. And if you have any friends or family members or people that that are struggling and their kids are struggling and they're really looking for a better program, this is the place. Come on over and let's have a conversation. So again, my name is Christine Rayner. The program is called Imagine Achievement. We have many different services. Basically, ask and we can develop it if it's something we don't currently have. And my phone number is 949-357-8912. Thanks.